There are times when I feel eerily prescient, and today is one of those times. On Saturday night, I was the guest on the MGTOW Chats live stream. Before I was, before I became the guest, one of the hosts asked me, "Well, what do you want to talk about, Andy?" And he gave me two alternatives. One was to talk about the thing that we're not supposed to talk about. That if you talk about it at all, especially if you're me, then YouTube instantly strikes you. If you even refer to it in some way, they strike you. If you're me, anyway. One was that thing, and he said, if we talked about it, then we can put it on BitChute and really just be frank and be totally candid with our thoughts. Or the second choice is, I know you're a sports fan, sort of. We could talk about sports ball. And I said, I'm sort of tired of the first thing. Let's talk about the second thing. Let's do sports ball. And one of the things that interested me about the subject of sports ball, we had a wide-ranging conversation. We went a lot of places. It wasn't really that directed. It was fairly free-flowing. But one of the things that we did mention was the notion of rigged games. The idea that there could be times when in some important professional sports match where the powers that be hand down this, or maybe maybe it doesn't have to be from ultra on high. It doesn't have to be like a 9/11 JFK false flag inside job kind of deal, but just something simpler where you got the influence of organized crime everywhere. Even if we can't see it, even if we don't know about it, it's there. Even in places that seem to be lawful, there's still the existence of this lawless force that, I don't know, let's call it the mafia for lack of a better term, where it might just be decided for one reason or another that this game needs to have this outcome. These people need to win. These people need to lose. And I realized a fairly short time ago that as I have aged and grown much more friendly to the notion that things are not what they seem. For me, it's been part of the aging process. When I was 20, I didn't have these notions in mind at all. I was pretty much just a conservative normie. But over the course of the years, I've come to see, well, there's this. This definitely didn't happen the way they said it did. It just doesn't make sense. And that story, it just doesn't hold up under scrutiny, and so forth. And so I was becoming more and more welcoming of the notion that things might not be what they seem. And yet, for some reason, it never occurred to me that this might apply to the realm of sports. That when you have these high-paid athletes, this league that generates millions or billions of dollars, like the NFL, for example, or other professional sports leagues. But let's really hone in on the NFL right now, because that's what I'm about to mention. How maybe it's the case sometimes that games are rigged, and that was on Saturday night. Then the very next day, you got a game that everybody is screaming about. The whole notion of the NFL being rigged. NFL rigged is now trending on Twitter. It's a hashtag, I believe. And people are up in arms, especially Cincinnati Bengals fans are up in arms. There was a play in the game last night between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs, where the Chiefs had a play on third down, and they threw an incomplete pass, and so they had to bring in the punting unit. But then the referees said, "Wait a minute, no, we need to play that down over because supposedly the I don't want to get too into the weeds here, but suppose for those of you who aren't sports fans, but supposedly the play clock was still running, and it shouldn't have been running, and so one of the referees ran on the field saying, "No, don't start the play. We need to reset the play clock," but nobody could hear him. And the reason why nobody could hear him was supposedly because it was so loud in that stadium. So as a result, they got the Kansas City Chiefs got to redo the play. They got a do-over, which you never see. You never see that, in big league sports. It's something that's like when you're playing with your friends in the backyard when you're a kid. You say we get a do-over because mom's car pulled up and I was distracted, and so we get to have a do-over for this reason or for that reason. So it's also called a mulligan. But the idea of there being a mulligan or a do-over in a professional sporting event is just wild and crazy. And so even though it didn't end up having an effect on the outcome of the game, the Kansas City Chiefs did not score on that drive when they were given an extra down. They ended up punting it away anyway. Still, nevertheless, there are people saying this is outrageous. This shows that the NFL is rigged. I kind of find it wild and crazy, and synchronistic and oddly prescient, and so forth. Just that things aligned in that way, that we had this conversation about professional sports and the possibility of, and sports ball, and the possibility of there being rigged events in professional sports. The very next day, you've got this what some people are thinking is a huge red flag that this is going on, that the NFL is rigged, that they wanted the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the referees knew they had to make sure that was gonna happen one way or another. I'm not saying that that's the truth about what happened. I would caution skepticism on that front, and I would say the referee crew should be, even though everybody hates referees, everybody hates umpires. That's part of sports ball. It's booing the umpires or the referees or whatever. But I would say give them I would say they're innocent until proven guilty on this front. But I just think I find it really interesting, this alignment between what was going on in my mind. Not that this is about my powers or anything like that, but just that it was in the air, it was in the water. Maybe it was something that other people were sensing and lapping up. It was a psychic thing, just vibrating around us. I don't know. And we had a conversation about it on Saturday night. On Sunday night, suddenly it's NFL rigged everywhere. So just wanted to share that. Don't know if that's of interest to anybody, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you have a thought, leave it below.